Well, hey, everybody, good Monday evening to you. It is good to see you, and it is good to be seen by you. I hope you are having an absolutely fantastic evening. I, of course, am Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you live on a Monday from an undisclosed location somewhere in a spooky central Florida. And I hope you're having an absolutely positively fantastic one. Hello to you folks on YouTube, and I want to thank you, Off Grid Gaming, very much for joining us as a member. Salute, buddy. I really appreciate that. That is very helpful. And let me tell you what, if you're looking to support the channel, the really like the primary bedrock best thing you can do is, if you haven't already, please click the subscribe button, click the bell icon for notifications. And if you like the videos that you see, give them a thumbs up and leave a comment underneath them. It really kind of gets me back out into algorithm space and makes YouTube not think that I've fallen off the face of the earth. Dungeon Minister, Jason Lipsky, Orbital Air, Chris Kane, Michael Dale, Sean Rader, hello. Dungeon Minister is coming off of an absolutely, dare I say, star-studded convention. That's right, ClaraCon 2 held up there in the Great White North. I am to understand they found an igloo big enough and had enough Tim Hortons and maple syrup and poutine and milk in bags to keep everyone fed. So congratulations on what was, by all accounts, an absolutely fantastic time. So I'm really happy to hear that everything went good up there in the Great White North. Things went just absolutely swimmingly this weekend. If you didn't tune in on Friday for our concluding Halloween Call of Cthulhu Shocktober show, well, you missed something. It's over on YouTube. Just click on my channel, click on the live tab, and you can watch it. Ignominious ends to everyone, because after all, it's not a Call of Cthulhu game if it has a happy ending to it, right? Lobotomies, cliff deaths, insanity, bug infestations. A good time indeed. And it is Halloween week, which of course means I will be busy on Thursday. Not so busy that I can't stream. I'm gonna have to see what the youngest daughter wants to do. So Thursday will be a little different from your bog standard, in that we'll do something. I'm thinking now. You guys know I stumble over my own words sometimes. I let almost orcish malpropisms slip into my speech, and I am in a three-way relationship with and that can't be stopped. So hopefully I can read something spooky and you guys will enjoy it. Streaming from the front porch, handing out candy. I don't want to be streaming people's kids, but otherwise that's a good idea. Like if I could guarantee like 18 years and older teenagers stopping by, that would be spiffy. But I don't know. Plus, and again, I don't know what the youngest daughter is going to want to do. Hand out candy. She want to go spend time with her boyfriend. I don't know. But I will find something to do. Greetings, Jorge. Good to see you. How are things down there near Tierra del Fuego? Summer is coming, or is it already upon you down there? To put things in, if you guys, okay. I want you to pull out a map of North America, and I want you to look up Baffin Island. That is about where Jorge is, but in South America. He is really, 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 he's about as far as you can be away from me on a single landmass. Windy. It's windy. So he is way down there. I think if he started walking, he wouldn't be here for possibly 3 days, maybe even 4. It's that far. But anyway, so yeah, our Thursday will be a little interesting. And Friday, of course, we return to Gamma World, but we've got a couple of days in the in-between. And tomorrow night, of course, we're going to be playing First Edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. And what does that mean to you? Okay, we've had a lot of people subscribe this weekend, and I certainly appreciate that. What does that mean to you that we are going to play First Edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons? This is not something like this. I don't want you to feel like this is a passive thing where you just kind of sit on your hands. I want you guys to feel comfortable asking questions about how the game is run. Maybe you've never played First Edition AD&D and you want to learn the ropes because you'd like to, or you're just curious about it. Maybe you did, but a long time ago. And you know how fuzzy memory can get us sometimes. Like, you know, I had just for the longest time, I was 100% convinced that Dwarven Fighter Clerics were a thing, and I allowed them in my game. Look in the player's handbook, they're not. Now, I didn't roll that back. You know, I think that's an absolutely cromulent race class combo to do. I've no issues with it, whatever. So, and the specific reason is actually it stems from Three Hearts and Three Lions, because Holger says of Huey the dwarf, basically he says that he's righteous. Okay, and Holger's a paladin. Now, granted, he is from our world and finds himself thrown into the world of Three Hearts and Three Lions, but he recognizes some things. So I let it go. Because it's not game breaking. But you know, that's one of the things that we address, right? You know, maybe you've got a question about rules, whether you have never played before, played a long time ago. Maybe you're currently playing a game and you have a question. You're like, this came up in my game. I have a question about that. Put the question in the chat. And if I don't answer it, it's not because I'm ignoring you. Maybe one of my players will pick up on that and come back and say, wait a second, Bill, Chris Kane had a question for you. Oh, I see that Chris did. Now, and one thing I want to emphasize, you do not have to super chat to chat. Okay. You don't have to come back and be like, oh, I got to ask Bill a question. I better spend some money. No. I love and appreciate every super chat, every membership, every buy me a coffee, every PayPal donation that you guys throw into the hat is loved and appreciated. Okay. Whether you're super chatting $100, $200, which people on occasion have done, or whether it's $2, a 99-cent super sticker, I appreciate it all just the same. But you don't have to do that to ask a question on an RPG night. If me or my players don't know it, maybe someone in the audience does, because let me tell you guys something. I have, and I will die on this hill. Actually, I'm adopting a new philosophy. Why should I die on the hill? If you've come to argue with me, why shouldn't you be the one to die on the hill? So I'm changing it up. I will kill on that hill. So I will kill on this hill. I have the smartest and best looking audience of all 5-night-a-week classic tabletop RPG live stream shows on YouTube. I absolutely do. Look, I love all my brothers and sisters here in the YouTube tabletop RPG space, even in the old school space. We are not competitors. We are team members. That's D and Disability. That's Dungeon Minister. That's the Vile Necromancer. May he return to us someday. That's RPG Grandma. When Wheeling Dragon, God bless her, gets her chance going, that's, that's her too. That's everybody. But the hill I'll kill on is you guys, smartest and best looking. And I dare anybody to say otherwise. See previous statement about hills and mortality. So, if I don't get it, one of my players might. If one of my players doesn't, somebody in the audience might. That's just how we roll around here. So that is essentially how we let's play. It's not a passive. It's not TV, guys. Okay. Now, Dimension 20, Critical Role, those guys. Oh, yeah, they've got $1 million deals with Amazon and animated shows and the backing of Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast. But I'll interact with you guys. It's not just one social relationship, it's 2 social relationships. That's what my shrink said. I have a pair of social relationships with you guys. But I kid, but I want you guys to feel free to just ask those questions during the actual plays. And you can ask them on nights like tonight. For example, Rabbit Wrangler asks, what are some of my favorite homebrew rules? Well, Rabbit, I'm glad you asked that. One of my favorite house rules that I like to employ, and I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be completely upfront with you guys. Just lay it all out there. That was so weird. Anyway, years ago, I invoked the 0 equals unconscious, but able to be revivified and brought back to feet. So let's talk for a second about how injury, death, dying works in AD&D. Now, OD&D, basic Dungeons and Dragons, so on and etc., introduced, they held to the concept of 0 hit points equals death. It's a little bit more complex in first edition AD&D, or it can be. It can be. What happens is, if you're in AD&D by the book, if you're knocked to 0, you are then unconscious and you begin to bleed out. If you take hit points equal to -1 or -2, same thing. If you take hit points equal to -3 in a single blow, which means you have 7 hit points, you take 10 points of damage, that's it. Game over. Barring resurrection, reincarnation, or raised dead. Now, years ago, I implemented a variation of that. I said, if you were knocked to precisely 0, not -1, not -2, you were merely unconscious. Get a healing potion in you, get a cure light wounds on you, and you shook it off and you got back in the ring. I thought that would be such an edge case. So how many times somebody's got 5 hit points, am I going to roll exactly 5 points of damage? It turns out quite a bit. as luck would have it, it turns out that happens an awful lot. But I like the rule, and I stuck with it. I stuck with it. So that that is one of my favorite house rules. But I understand why, like, multiple death saves. Ooh, let's do multiple death saves. And oh, negative your constitution means you passed out, and so on and etc. I don't, I'm not down with that, you know. And I will, you know what? I give him a lot of gentle ribbing for her pleasure. Of basic expert, that slot Frank Mentzer threw together, the rules cyclopedia, and so on, and original D&D. Is zero is that's it. Game over. AD&D goes a little bit softer. AD&D goes a little bit softer. In that, again, ignoring my house rules, knocked to 0, -1, -2, unconscious and bleeding out. You bleed out to -10, and then you're not irrevocable. I was going to say you're irrevocably dead. You are dead. But also, if you're knocked to 0, -1, -2, or you bleed out beyond that, you are then comatose for 1d6 turns. So you could be out for an hour. Dungeon Master sitting there gleefully rolling random encounters every turn. Probability dictates at one point in that hour, you're going to have a wandering monster encounter if you're underground. So you're back up on your feet. What then? Put a sword in your hand? Let you go back into fighting? No. Now, Dungeon Minister throws a little shade in my direction. Dungeon Minister says, well, that's whips. But now your character, by the book, back on their feet. Now that character, he is going to have to spend a week recovering. Knocked out for 10 minutes, knocked out for an hour. That was a bad scene. And your character is on their butt for a week. Maybe the adventuring party is like, sucks to suck. And they go back and they keep raiding the dungeon. Well, what then? Maybe they're like, no, we'll do some role play stuff around town while Bob recovers. Perfectly acceptable. So you see, it is soft, but is it really? Yeah, Noble Shield, exactly. Going back to all cap sentence about time needing to be tracked. Yeah, you're not recovered after a nap. Now, you want Dungeon Minister wants to call me a wimp. Man, how about 6th edition? You can literally demand the DM give you a safe space. I'm not making that up. You can literally just say, I'm on base, monsters can't affect me in here. Like, and the DM has to do it by the rules. On the one hand, I would never run that. On the other hand, I would be like, sure, I'll run 6th ed for you. You don't mind if I introduce a few house rules, do you? I mean, I'm calling a 6th edition. No, I can still do things to characters inside a minor glow. This is literally, you can't do anything to me. My character is inside their safe space. Oh, good luck, Dungeon Minister. God be with you. Taught your friend DM about playing 5e. Oh, look, X amount of deadly monsters. Thank God we're playing 5e and are indestructible. You're such a good friend. Ha! Nice. I don't know. I never got to that. I know this. Rob Kuntz and Gary Gygax were DMing me and some other guys through Castle Greyhawk using those rules. And now, granted, this was back in 2004. Yeah, it was a total party kill. We got wiped out. There was no asking about it. My character got stabbed to death by I can't remember if it was a Durgar or if it was a salamander, but he was dead. Liamon's tiny hut and rope trick are basically magical tents. There is nothing to say that extra dimensional monsters can't rend you up in there. Hey, wave of mutilation. But anyhow, so yeah, I was just like, holy crap. And the first module out of the chute, you know how we were making fun of the prom module? D&D goes to prom, and people were like, no, that's just some third part that you Strix, hey, you no. And then they had the module where everybody is a barista, and they were like, no, you dumb old grognards, no, don't be silly grognard. It's literally the first official 6e adventure is you play fast food cooks. This is aspirational fantasy gaming. I yeah, Sean, I find that kind of slows the table down a little bit for me. I mean, if I want something like, oh, you have to have bones set and stuff stitched shut and that sort of, I mean, I got Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, right? I can do that. But yeah, that is that's your aspirational heroism these days, guys. Be a wagey. Hey, people liked it when you were a Starbucks wagey, didn't they? Yeah. Let's publish an official adventure where you're a McDonald's wagey. And look, I'm not despair. If in real life that's what you do, then be the best one you can. Get those dollar bills. Absolutely, unquestionably. But 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning, whenever. If that was me when I got home, I wouldn't want to be like, okay, what's on tap for D&D tonight? You're gonna play a fry cook. Yeah, Damien, you know what? Same. I feel exactly as you do, buddy. I would play 4E and be a fantasy superhero before I would want to play that damn fast food fry cook thing. And you know, I've said before, Tim Kask and Michael Mornard were like upset that Gary didn't have food sources for the monsters in Castle Greyhawk. So they put a McDonald's in there where the monsters got burgers and fries. But that wasn't like the focus of it. That's well put. Be a level 1 barista or Gandalf on the bridge, your choice. I know what I'll do. So yeah, I don't get out the skeleton pizza shed man. Well, he's a skeleton pizza deliverer mini. But yeah, I mean, you know, I remember when this was ironic. Grenadier Fantasy Lords Pizza Skeleton. He was ironic. (1983), by the way, 41 years old, that mini. Hey, Praxis, I haven't seen you in a minute. I mean, sure, as a one shot, it could be ridiculous, right? It could be stupid fun. And maybe it is a one shot. But I mean, that's something you throw in the mix. You don't lead off with that. I mean, imagine going to see Johnny Cash and like his first song or his first encore is Chicken and Black. I don't know. I am the servant of the secret fire, wielder of the flame of honor. Yeah, I don't. With respect, Noble Shield. With respect. I feel like if you start letting in 3 third edition mechanics, 3E, Pathfinder. It's like letting the camel stick his nose in the tent, you know? I mean, if it works for you and your game hasn't, like, you know, you've been able to keep it real, hey, that's awesome. And I'm not slagging anybody who does that. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about Bill. I mean, for me, 1 hit point a day when you're in a comfortable place. Praxis. But anyway, but you know what? We're not going to worry about that. We're going to talk about positive stuff. Like I said, maybe on Thursday, a little bit of horror reading. I got 1 or 2 stories I think I can read for you, not tabletop RPG horrors, but actual spooky stories. There's 1 or 2 good ones I'd like to share with you guys. Oh, that's wonderful, Michael Dale. I hope you like them. Hey, 33K7, one of my Twitter watchers over there on the Twitch space. Thank you. Monday is Monday, you know. It's a lot busier today than I wanted it to be. Just didn't get all the stuff done I wanted to get done. Need to drop my ballot off. Got things to do, got some computer memory to RMA, got just stuff, and I only got a little stuff done today. So I'll have to do it tomorrow. You can't be mostly dead. -9. -9 hit points, but they banded you up. You are definitely, most assuredly, mostly dead. What about my other 4? I already cast my ballot. That was first ballot. What about second ballot? I'm going to check this video tomorrow, and there's going to be like a big YouTube disclaimer on it. YouTube will automatically flag it. What is it? What do you got that's so important to come back for? What's the big deal? True love. Clearly, he said to blave, which means to bluff. He was probably playing cards with you, and he died owing a lot of money. Oh my gosh. So yeah, busy tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, Princess Bride, that is the quotable movie, is it not? Someone told me that they read Golding's book as William Golding. I don't know, and that it was not good. I don't know if that's true or not. I've never read it. I've seen the movie backwards and forwards. That is great, Chris. I love that. Did you like customize him? Is he a miracle worker, or do you say, okay, he's a cleric, or he's a druid, or he's? I mean, he brings a guy back. Well, he doesn't bring him back from the dead. Again, I would dare say that Wesley is at -9 hit points. And given that he hasn't rested and he can't do anything, I would dare say that he basically, that pill he gives him is like extra healing. Basically, it's a pill of extra healing. Go away or call the Brute Squad. I'm on the Brute Squad. You are the Brute Squad. Oh, goodness. He's a miracle worker. I love it. Chris, that makes me happy. I love that. Why don't you give me a paper cut and pour lemon juice into it? Oh, my gosh. Healing is something for those pesky characters to spend all that gold on. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, that's training, which I hated and now love. Yeah, I got to tell you, man, get on that training grind set for AD&D. Suddenly, all that I have to adjust the gold. The dragons now have hundreds of coins, not thousands of coins. Yeah, you put training back in AD&D, and suddenly those untold piles of riches, they just aren't a problem. Yes, but I could eliminate training and diminish the amount of gold. Yeah, exactly. Thorin and company went after Smog because he was sitting on 380 gold pieces and 2 bars of silver and 3 pieces of jewelry. Exactly, Noble Shield. Bought that movie for your wife this year for our birthday. Our VCR broke, so we had to upgrade it. Well, it's about time. You know, I'm gonna get on a soapbox here, 33K7. I am not a lover of analog media. I want crystal clear. Let me tell you something. The cult magic, the cult movie, the cult animated movie, Rock and Roll, was only available on like you could buy a VHS of it that somebody had like printed off of their Lorimar Laserdisc copy, but it was still pan and scan and it was still terrible. The remaster from Underground Video that dropped 12, 13 years ago, 14 maybe, that was so good. When we finally got American Pop on DVD and Heavy Metal, so many good ones. I love digital media, but, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, own your media. Look, if it's books, films, or music, own physical copies, regardless of what it is, and the less frangible, the better. Ballot is a level 1 spell, but at level 3 you get a second one. Okay. Oh, right, okay. But Nobu Shield says, Fafard, we're out of money and eat beer and wenches. What do we do? Time for an adventure. Absolutely. Was Dragon Slayer hard to find? I don't know. I honestly don't know. How do I handle new PC? Oh, I saw this discussion over on Twitter. Yeah. Harmony Ginger was asking about she was asking how do I handle new PCs? How do I mix high and low level characters? You know what? Per the Dungeon Master's Guide, bring them in at about average level of the party. I just, you know, we've got a party of 15th level adventurers and 1 first level. I mean, that's like what? And yeah, they're going to level fast, but they have to make some contribution to the fight, which means they could die at any minute. And during that fast leveling, when it's like 20,000 XP, that puts me like 1% closer to my next level. It says everybody in the party. And the first level guy is like, awesome. Okay, we can go back to town and I can level my character, right? No, we're in the demi plane of shadow, and we've built a fortress of light and darkness, and we're having a ball tomorrow where the goddess Umbra will be attending. We're not going back to Hamlet, so you can take a level in cleric from Turgon. I'm sorry. No, their teacher can't be another PC, I don't think. Cheering on the other PCs isn't contributing. Well, I suppose that's up to the DM. And I suppose any of this is up to the DM, right? Any of it? I don't know why they couldn't. I mean, higher level PC can train themselves. When you exceed name level, you can train yourself, whether you're a fighter, magic user, cleric, thief, paladin, ranger, druid. Actually, druids may be the exception. Well, they are the exception after a certain point, because druids do that Highlander thing where it's like, I have to defeat you, as do monks. But generally speaking, I say go find an NPC. But I mean, I suppose they'd still have to pay for it. And I wouldn't allow them to say, oh, yeah, no, it's just a gold piece. Nope. Name level does differ from class to class. So we have a question here, and I think it's time, rather than me blather, that we should look at the book. So let's see, Dungeon Master's Guide. By the way, for all of my friends over on Twitter, I just want to point out that paladins must always be lawful good and must always be human. Apparently got a few people upset today. But I'm not gonna back off of that. I will kill on that hill. So let's see. He did in the film. I don't recall him doing it in the book. Let's see. I was going to go there. Okay. Alrighty. So here we are. And if you want to follow along, if you want to take a look at this, we are on page 86 of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Initial study and or training must be conducted under the tutelage of a character of the same class and profession as the trainee, i.e. a fighter must train under a fighter, a paladin under a paladin, a druid under a druid, etc. Note that the tutor might possibly accept some combination of gold and service in return for his tutelage at the DM's option. Exception: a character with performance score under 2 need not be tutored, but the study and or training time will be twice the indicated period. 1 week becomes 2, 1.2 weeks becomes 2.4, etc. If a character has a performance score of 2 or greater and he or she is unable to locate a mentor to train under, the character must remain at his or her current level until such time as a tutor can be located and the necessary training and or study course paid for and completed before any gain of experience level is granted. Note that self-training costs more as expenses are per week and the potential option of service is excluded. Believe it or not, Robert, there is not anything in the in the Dungeon Master's Guide about mounted combat. There's no jousting. Well, wait. That's not entirely true. But we'll get back to that. I'm going to pin that and we'll come back to it, Robert. So we continue. Training under a higher level character applies only to characters who are below the name or nominal upper level of their class and profession. There are upper levels for each class shown below. And then we go cleric, high priest, druid, fighter lord, paladin, ranger lord, magic user wizard, illusionist, thief, master thief, assassin, monk, superior master, and bard special. Characters who have achieved name level must merely spend game time equal to the number of weeks indicated by performance in self-conducted training and or study cost in GP equivalent of the exercise, then become a function of class. And so on. So cleric, 2,000 a week per level, investments in largesse. Fighters, 1,000 per week per level, tithes in largesse. Magic user, 4,000 a week, 4,000 per level per week. Equipment, books, experiments, etc. Thief, 2,000 per level per week. Tools, equipment, etc. And then it mentions bards are a special profession as they have already earned levels as a fighter and a thief. Once they begin experience as bards, each must pay tuition to his respective college. You're not getting away from college tuition payments, not even in D&D. Let's see. These payments and donations must be at least 50% of all monetary gains plus an additional 1,000 GP per level upon gaining a higher one. 50% of all monetary gains. The 10,000 gold you just got goes to the Bardic College. Contributions and payments must be made to a druid whose level of experience is such that he or she is able to use more than their highest level spells than the bard is. In any extent, the funds so received do not accrue to the druid, but pass to the amorphous organization of druidical colleges. Failure to make the required contributions prevent the bard from level advancement. Otherwise, bards do not need to spend extra time in training and study other than a single week alone or in company with a druid to whom contributions and payments may be made. Upon attaining experience points sufficient to advance one level of experience. And there you go. So, anyway, question we had. What does it say about mounted combat? So, lances do damage. Horse hooves and horse bites do damage. Charging, I always deemed that if you're galloping up on someone on horseback, you are effectively charging. You will take double damage if your foes have set spear. Your mount could be killed and you thrown from the saddle. But there is no specific rule set for fighting from. Let me see if I can find that. Charge. Good. You know what? Maybe charged. Nope. I think we're past where we would have needed to go. You know what? Here. I have this. All right, so here we go. Zoom in a little bit. That's a little difficult to read. We're looking at surprise, inflicting damage and counter reactions, avoiding, missile discharge, parleying, grenade-like missile, spell casting during melee. There we go. All right. Charge. This action brings the charging party into combat on the charge round, but there are a number of considerations when it is taken. Movement rate outdoors, movement bonus for charging in normal outdoor settings is 33 1/3% of base speed for bipedal creatures, 50% for quadrupeds, which references Swords and Spells, which is a fine book to go to for mounted combat. But if you don't have it, we can continue on. Then we have armor class for charging creatures. There's no dexterity bonus allowed for charging creatures. Creatures with no dexterity bonus become one armor class lower. An AC 3 creature becomes AC 4. There is no penalty to AC 10 creatures for charging, however. Initiative is not checked at the end of charge movement. The opponent with a longer weapon reach attacks first. So I've got a heavy lance. You've got a long sword. I'll hit you first. Now, setting weapons against possible charge. Setting weapons is simply a matter of bracing such weapons as spears, spike polearms, forks, glaives, etc., such as to have the butt of the shaft braced against an unyielding surface. The effect is such that a weapon, upon a charging or leaping, pouncing, falling, otherwise on-rushing opponent, is set or is to cause such opponent to impale itself and take double normal damage if a hit is so scored. And there we go. So I have a light lance, you have a heavy lance. We run our horses at each other. You take all this into account, and I'm struck first. And if it's not simultaneous combat, I could die. But we do have Swords and Spells, easy to get these days. You can find it over on drive-through, and there's a lot of stuff about mounted combat in there. Oh, and I missed a bunch of comments. Michael Connor says, what's on the plate this evening? Well, I'm not even going to say that. Can you attack while going full gallop? Yeah, that's called a charge. Can you fire a bow? There's nothing to not permit. I mean, it does not say that you have to remain stationary, that you can't fire a bow from the saddle. Hey, Rabovsky Turner, good to see you. How do I adjudicate a mounted swordsman executing a charge, charging a creature on foot with a set spear? That is up to the spearman. Is he lowering it to catch the horse, or is he raising it to catch the horseman? if he's smart, he's actually going to try and take the horse out. And as far as the question that came up earlier, I was on a different page and I was also reading from the Dungeon Master's Guide. As far as the matter of just because Gygax said so, that makes it so, that's why the game has rules, and I prefer to adhere to those rules. I mean, you do you. Okay? I'm not calling people out. I mean, I was in chess club when I was in high school. Big shock, I know, right? And one of the guys we played chess with came up with this chess variant that was like what was he called it kamikaze pawns. Like you could designate a kamikaze pawn before the game. Like you knew what it was, you wrote down where it was, and you could, in a single move it across, and it would take out the 3 pieces in front of it, regardless of what they were. And I thought that was dumb, and I told him as much. I was like, Justin, this is dumb. This is not chess, dude. You're making it into some weird Space Invaders game or something. I don't know. But chess variants have been a thing forever. I mean, one chess variant I liked was you scramble up the pieces. It's just like random sets of I don't mean random sets like 6 rooks, 5 bishops, and that's not what I mean. Like you might put both rooks down here, and then a bishop, and then a knight, and then another knight, and then the king, and then the queen. You would arrange them in kind of a quasi-random way. I thought that was a pretty neat way to start, because I'm going to move, I'm going to open up the front, I'm going to move the bishop, then I'm going to move the knight, and then I'm going to castle. It takes the standard Sicilian defense right off the table. Nordic, I just said, do what you want at your own table. I'm saying by the rules that I adhere to, no Dwarven Paladins or magic users or what have you. I mean, he's not some guy from Wisconsin. It's not like they just accosted some guy on the street of Milwaukee or Fond du Lac and said, "Hey, can dwarves be paladins?" This was after a considered design and play process. You're not James. Yeah, that breaks my heart. Let me just say that. Yeah, we're still playing. We're still playing G1. We're still playing G1, 2, 3. That's still happening. I'm going to help you out with a bunch of typing in the future, Daniel. I love Jane Seymour. That's all you need to type. You don't worry about it. There you go. That's just, But yeah, Monday night's a lot of fun. 10 years. That game has been going for 10 years. I'm looking forward to the Christmas game is going to be a lot of fun. I've told you guys about the Christmas game. And speaking of Christmas, looking at just looking at a few different things. May change a couple of things up about Christmas. I'm thinking of doing the gift drawing. Now, so I will tell you guys the James Seymour wants Warren Christmas Village. The original plan was that one night a week I would do a very short live stream, spin a wheel, and whoever happened to be viewing that night would have a chance at winning a small gift from me to you to show my appreciation. I may do it Christmas night. I'm going to see if Mrs. the Dungeon Delver what she wants to do. I'm gonna pick her brain for ideas. Like, does she want to do like the show with us? You know, how do we want to proceed? And maybe we draw 4 gifts on Christmas night. You wouldn't get them until after Christmas, obviously. I would be summoning a biblically accurate angel. No, I'm not doing Festivus. I'm not airing any grievances. I do that like how many nights a week? And I think you guys are all wrong. So, you know, we're at an impasse. But let's not worry about it. But so yeah, I'm not sure. A drawing like 4 drawings on Christmas night, me and Mrs. the Dungeon Delver. So I had a lot of fun. I think Mrs. the Dungeon Delver had a lot of fun last year, just her and I sitting here Christmas bantering with you guys. So if that's something that she would like, I will talk to her. I will pick her brain about it. And maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that. Hey, we're at 100 watchers right now. Paladins have to be good, but clerics can be evil. Yes, clerics can be evil. Because they're priests. That's it. Paladin means a specific thing, 33K7. Can dwarves be basketball players? I've seen some historically short basketball players, but let's be 100% clear. A short basketball player is like 6'2". You start talking about guys like Larry Bird and Manute Bol, God rest his soul, and Shaquille O'Neal and Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You start talking about basketball players, and the short guy playing basketball is my height. Okay. And I met, like, the Phoenix Suns came into my record store when I was working at the mall. I met Charles Barkley with him. Charles isn't an incredibly tall dude. He's just maybe a shade taller than me. I'm 6'4". If somebody wants to look his stats up. But I mean, there were some guys on the Suns that are just like, yeah, hey, I'm looking for the new Dr. Dre CD. You got that? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right over here. You know, or if you just want to lean over the browser and just, you know, they can have their own holy warriors. They're not paladins. Mark Morrison, hello, good to see you. I go with a V. Dwarves. Okay, there you go. But that's like not that shorter than average height 33K7. That's not, I mean, when these guys are talking like, could Gimli get out there and do a full court press? He could, but sideways. No, that's not true in first edition AD&D Nordic. I disagree. I respectfully disagree with you. There are 9 alignments. Lawful good, neutral good, chaotic good, true neutral, lawful neutral, chaotic neutral, lawful evil, neutral evil, chaotic evil. Exactly. Never give up on your dream. Tim Conway, dwarfs. I will at you. I will at you all the time. Noble shield. So-called noble shield. But anyway, what time is it? I gotta check the time. Okay, it's 10 after 9. I need to take care of some things. So that's where we're gonna wrap up. So tomorrow night we got the first edition AD&D rolling. Wednesday night, I believe Kyle will be back in the house Wednesday, and we will continue our overland with Bob the Charisma 3, Intelligence 6, Wisdom 6 fighter, now possessing magic armor and magic sword. Thank you, Vinny. and the rest of our shenanigans and antics. Thursday night, of course, Halloween. I'm thinking it'll be late night creepy stuff reading. And then Friday night, we are back to Gamma World. I'm gonna have to go look at my notes and see what we were doing in Gamma World. I think it was Legion of Gold. But anyhow, guys, y'all be good to each other, regardless of what it is and what you do and how you enjoy it. Have an absolutely wonderful evening. But look, I'm going to warn you, it's getting near high and by Pate Minis Live. It's getting near hibernation season, so be on the lookout for those dreaded owl bears. Peace. Good night.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around. Some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle way off course? Naked as a toad all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me